Don't buy that landed property if you don't do these 6 steps. Hello there, I am Promise Obioma, your award-winning realtor. I help you make wise and safe decisions as regards real estate investment, and also I bring you good and fantastic deals as regards real estate investment. If you found value in this, make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell to get my subsequent videos as I post. Thank you. So there are 6 steps you need to take before you obtain a property, be it a virgin land or an already existing land. Last week, I had a client that called me that wanted to purchase a property, and it now happened that he has been purchasing properties, and it now happened that he needed to go through a real estate professional. The reason being that there are certain deals you would want to make, you will need a professional, because there are certain levels of investigations that you will need to undergo in order to ascertain the genuinity of a landed property, so you will not put your money where you would have serious problems in the future. So there are steps you need to take when purchasing a property. When a real estate owner or a land seller offers a property for sale, the first step is to get a copy of the land document. But before you do that, do a location check of that property. There are 3 checks you need to do. 3 investigation checks. Number 1, location. Number 2, on the title. And number 3, on the owner of the property. These are the 3 checks. So I'm going to be explaining one after the other using these steps. Let's start with location. Location, you need to go for a physical inspection of where the property is situated. I think you would have agreed on the price if the land is offering you for 120 million for a 4 plots of land in a buy and build area. So you need to negotiate and agree on a particular price. So the next thing, then you get the land titles. So getting the land title enables you go for investigation. Sometimes they give you the land title document, a copy of it. Sometimes they give you the number, the file number of it. So you will need to go for search at the Ministry of Lands, especially in Enugu here. You go for search at the Ministry of Lands to ascertain if the property is free from any governmental encumbrances, such as mortgage, claims, and other issues that might occur. During this verification, you can also print out a copy of what you've verified about that property, so that you will need to use it to verify the copy the landowner is presenting to you as the land title of that property. During this verification, you check exactly word to word to be sure if exactly what you have in the Ministry of Land is exactly what you have with the landowner. This is not just a one-day investigation. You will need to also consult a property lawyer. On my team, I have 2 or 3 property lawyers I work with most of the time to verify landed documents. Remember, property lawyer is not every lawyer that knows the look and cranny of properties and laws around properties. So you will definitely need to look for a property lawyer. This property lawyer will also do his own job by applying his professionalism on checking how legit the landed property is, and also if this landed property is free from any government encumbrances. Secondly, you need to consult a surveyor to chart the property to ensure that there are no fences that are encroaching on the layout of properties from other surroundings. This is to ensure that the actual layout that is written, that has been charted from the previous survey, matches with what is on ground, and the coordinates are exactly what it is, and there are no additional or subtractions on the property. Don't always depend on the previous survey. You need to do your own survey. I mean, you're investing a huge sum of money in a property, then you should be able to do the extra work by consulting a professional surveyor to do these things for you. Because if you don't do this, by the time you go ahead to buy the property and in the next few years you want to start building, you might have an issue with the neighbors around the surrounding buildings, because if you've not been able to ascertain the actual boundaries of your property. After you've conducted a a survey and a search. Then you can now proceed if the property is free from government encumbrances or any mortgage or any claims, because sometimes some landowners go ahead to get certain loans or certain grants from financial institutes using their property for a certain period of time. So eventually it does not elapse. So they would want to sell knowing that that land is either on mortgage or he has used it to take a loan from a financial institution. So by the time he sells that, already that land is under restriction, because the land seller needs to finish his own part of the contract, and now he's already selling it to somebody else. So you will now be fighting with, you will now be having issues with the other persons, you will now be having issues with the financial institution he has already loaned, used his landed property as a collateral for a financial loan or grant. So by that you'll be having issues. So these are the things you might need to check when buying a property. That is why it's very important to engage a surveyor to carry out a check and a search by charting the land and now taking it to Ministry of Land to do the necessary checks to be sure, and also to check the kind of buildings that can be erected in that property. And also that area, is it a residential area? Is it where you can build a hotel? Is it where you can build a shopping mall? Is it an all-purpose area where you can build anything, or it's just strictly for residentials? These are things that might need to be checked. You need to carry out an investigation. Of course, you can't do this on your own, so you have to work with a real estate investment consultant. I am Promise Obioma, your award-winning real estate investment consultant. My goal is to help you make wise and profitable real estate investment decisions. My number is 08037667164. In case you are having issues with buying a property, you don't know the right person to trust or the right person to call, you can always call on me or send me a WhatsApp message. I will always respond immediately I see it. Let's discuss how I'm going to help you make the right decisions as it has to do with real estate investment. Step 3 is, after you've checked all these things and you have ascertained that the land is free from government encumbrances or any other encumbrances, then you now have to execute a contract of sale or a deed of sale. A deed of sale is simply a document showing a history of how the land is passed from one hand to another and down to the current seller of the land. So which have to be prepared by a professional property lawyer. So this deed of sales clearly states the transfer of the property from the seller to the buyer. So which both the seller's signatures and the buyer's signatures is going to be on that deed of sales, and every other details that has to do with the property sales and purchase has to be on that deed of sale. So sometimes it's called contract of sale, sometimes it's deed of sale. So depending on, and it must be authorized and also be registered at the Ministry of Land to perfect that document. So if the land already have a C of O, then after this deed of sale or contract of sale have been done, that contract of sale will be taken to the land registry for a governor's consent. Now that governor's consent is simply getting an approval or notifying the government that this property that has C of O from this person is now transferred to this owner. So the buyer is now the current owner of that property. So the government needs to be aware of it, because if the government is not aware, that seller can also go ahead to sell that property to someone else. Even when the person goes for a search in the land registry, it will be reading that the land is still his own, being the name on the C of O. But if after he has sold the land to you, being the buyer, and you go to perfect your titles by getting a government consent, it will now be reading that in the land register that you are now the current bona fide owner of that landed property. So if any other surveyor or any other body or the seller tries to sell to another person when the person goes for a search to ascertain the correct owner of that property, it will no longer holds that it's the owner of that property. Rather, it will now be showing that you are the owner of that property because you've been able to notify the government about the current development in that landed property. So in perfecting these land titles, you will have to pay a certain fees that will enable the process go smoothly. Most of the times you pay for stamps and certain governmental seals. So these are the things you require. So for the seller will pay a capital claims tax. This is a tax that is paid when a seller sells a property to the government. So it's always paid to the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So these are one of the things the seller pays to ensure a smooth transfer of that landed property. After the seller has paid this internal revenue tax to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, so the Bureau of Internal Revenue will issue out a certificate showing that the seller has cleared all revenue tax that's supposed to be paid, and that certificate will also be attached to your land documentation. So it will ensure that all taxes has been paid, and it will authorize the smooth transfer of the landed property from the seller to the buyer. I hope you found value. So go ahead and subscribe and click on the notification bell for more values. Thank you for watching.